Not so much a rabbit.
I mean,
No.
the teeth, they're so pointy.
And if they're protecting the cave, it scares you.
Run away. This week on Treason Space, Jason and I watched the 2024 horror Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey #2.
I cannot believe that my LP said we should watch part two before Halloween, which is fine.
LP, I have to admit, at first, when I started watching this movie, I was like, yes, they made a horror movie for me. And then it got a little muddy in the middle, and then it kind of cleared everything up in the end. What did you think?
Um, I had so many mixed feelings about this movie, to the point where I almost wanted to watch our video of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, the first one, to see what I rated it as.
You rated it a tree and a stump,
Okay,
and I rated it 3 trees.
okay. And then I was very critical in some spots, but then I also have to realize, okay, this is exactly I'm in the same position that my father would have been in when I watched Friday the 13th, and he did too, and we both appreciated it. And then we watched Friday the 13th Part 2, and he said it was stupid. But I loved it because of my age and who the audience is for.
Right.
Um, so the
So let me explain this movie.
please explain this movie.
If you haven't watched this movie, let me explain it to you.
Explain it to us.
So this is what had happened. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey was um it happened, but then they made a movie about it, which makes you wonder if what you watched was the movie version of what happened in life, because then they can explain away the fact that they put a different actor in place of Christopher Robin.
I don't think no man was worried about that too much.
Well, it bothered me. And then the fact that they brought Piglet back, and I was like, Piglet died in the first one. But if you watched all the way at the end, it explains that away too, now that I think about it.
Yeah, yes, it did because of the powers that they have. My understanding, and I might be crazy because I was looking at I watched the end. I'm pretty sure the director casted himself into the movie as Christopher Robin. That's why he's the new Christopher Robin. I think that was the director.
Do you think his speech impediment was acting choice or actual choice?
The main Christopher Robin.
Yeah. Like he kind of like stutters a little bit.
I think that's just acting the way he is. Because with this movie, it starts in the 100 Acre Wood, almost like Friday the 13th for start in Camp Crystal Lake.
Right.
And these people are doing Ouijas, doing stupid stuff, trying to get the spirits, and action happens. They show up, people are dying. It gets disgusting. It
Let
starts off with a punch in the face.
I gotta cut you off right there, sir, because what Pooh does to that first girl in this movie, and she's not even the first to die.
No,
Spoilers, black chick dies. Of course, the black chick dies first. Why is it always the trope that the black person dies first, but for whatever reason she died first for no reason?
yeah. Well, they all. I mean, well, he does the first chick, and it see that was a problem because spoilers. She is driving away. I mean, I hated the fact, and then it finally starts. Let the thing start. Why would it not start up? They got it
She
out there.
wasn't turning it long enough.
Yeah.
She was like, she was just fiddle. She was edging it the whole
Okay,
time.
edge it. Well,
She's
start, and then she started driving, and she drives over the bear trap that doesn't spring. She drives a 200-pound thing over the middle
right.
of the bear trap. and it doesn't spring.
No, but I'm gonna presume that it pops the tire.
Well, yes, it does, and that's great and that's wonderful. And of course, he uses the bear. I mean, the thing he does. Oh my god, it's vicious. He's 100%
Oh
vicious.
my god, it was insane.
The point behind this movie was to explain who Pooh and Piglet and all them were, and I really loved the explanation. I
Yeah,
don't think I liked the execution of the explanation. I I,
it
I
was
think
it was a weird choice.
yeah.
And the fact, like, did you know that Christopher Robin had a brother? Did you know he had a sister?
I don't think they are doing the Pooh Bear books anymore like this. I just think they have them the Pooh and everything else is just how they want to do it, which is wonderful.
Right. So, like, yo, Chris Robin, his brother got abducted by some dude, and apparently other kids got abducted too, and they are the Pooh and the crew.
They
Made
are Pooh and the Crew. You know what? You should write your own horror called Pooh and the Crew. I like it,
uh
and that's the big twist of this movie, which you kind of see coming as soon as they start talking about abduct. Or
what
I
the,
first thought maybe they were selling the kids to feed to Pooh and the Crew.
oh yeah, and the flashbacks, like when young Chris Robin's playing with Pooh. Pooh is creepy as fuck.
But he don't recognize it. He don't see it because his young mind won't let him see gross things, and that made so much sense.
It was like, oh my god, this poor child, this poor man. And I look, segue conversation, his car. I love his car.
This car's nice.
It's not an inconspicuous car either. Like, and that was a thought that I had too, is he gets blamed for like everything.
Right, but he obviously not enough to put him in jail. He's just suspected of all the murders in the
Right.
Drakerwood.
And like they say that his parents' house get like uh whatever freaking not burgled but like disfigured, but
Right. Yeah. See, okay, these are the things I wrote down. It's I'm not gonna go through each one, but it's basically things that I am gonna go through each one. I'm gonna put them all together.
uh well, I was gonna say for vandalism. So
Then
if his family's getting vandalized, his house is getting vandalized, it's a pretty freaking nice house. Like, and also, why wouldn't you just move?
well, see, and that's the thing. Okay, so he's now a junior doctor. I'm not sure how that I don't really I remember him being like in medical school in the first one. But this is according to the synopsis of the movie, it's 5 months later. It's 5 months later. So okay, the conversation he has with his lady friend in the van,
Lexi.
Lexi, that was a very odd conversation. It just felt weird. It felt like it wasn't written like you talk about when you write a story. It should be two people writing it so it feels real. It felt
Right.
like one person wrote two different sides. And how he's like, I need you to stay away from me, right? I'm gonna be, that's what he said when he gets in the van. And she's like, screw you, get in here. And they start talking. And at the end of the conversation, they're talking about the party, and he's like, no, you have to be there. Okay, the beginning of the conversation, he's like, I don't want you around me. In the end, you got to be at this party. What the?
Well,
I also want to know. I know I'm gonna. Okay, I go on rants. I want to know how far away everything is from the 100-acre wood. I want to know how far away the house is from the woods to the place that we're having the rave, because they've got to be right next door to each other.
yeah, unless Owl, who is awesome, Owl is awesome, and Tigger.
Tigger is Freddy Krueger.
Tigger is, they did him well.
They did, but he's 100% Freddy Krueger. That's all he is.
Yeah.
I can understand the owl half the time.
I thought the Owl, I mean, I don't know. I think the Owl was my, like, when he was laying the little freaking regurgitated balls.
Oh, that was gross.
It was gross, but it's like that's what owls do. And
They
then
do.
when he vomited acid all over him, I was like, "Oh, how is that?" And I was like, "Wait, that's what owls do."
Yep.
I was like, "Oh my God, they nailed like they had an animal expert on set or something because they were nailing everything."
It was very. I just don't know. Like another problem I had. It's the writing. The writing of this movie. I wrote his name down. Matt Leslie. Matt Leslie. Listen, Matt. When you write a screenplay, it's important to have your conversation continue because the guy that got shot in the face in the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
he gets up and he writes, "You were right" to Christopher Robin. And Christopher Robin said, "Tell me who you saw. Tell me what was there. Who was it?" And he said, "He did this," and then showed him his face. He didn't tell him a fucking thing.
Not
It's
a
like,
goddamn thing. And I'm sorry, but what they really had to sew his mouth shut because when they showed him going through, he was literally just half his face blown off.
yes.
But when they showed
And
him,
gushing blood still for some reason and on the gurney.
yeah, and then when he revealed the bandages, it was like really like 12th century stitches.
It was.
And like they pulled his whole face, like, but they
They
didn't do that. So your own boy did that.
they had more money for this, and they did the special effects almost as good. I think they probably just, but they also used some CGI in more spots that it didn't do before, and I think that took away for me from part of the movie. I don't want to say I liked the practical special effects. They do those so well.
Oh, greatly. I liked what did you think of the face for Pooh this time?
I love the Pooh. I love the Pooh face, especially when he's doing like this and his eyes are looking up and the light, and his teeth and his face can move more. It was more emote.
Yeah.
Or
It had more it was looked like it was like the prosthetics they use for like cats,
right.
Broadway or something, like they actually spent money on that, which is
Yeah, they had the money to do it this time. And there's a part, and I know we're flipping back and forth, and this is another thing about the writing. It might not be the writing issue. It might have been an editorial issue. It might have been directing issue. But Lexi, she at the very end trying to find her boyfriend, and he's fighting with Pooh, and Owl's, "I see you, little bitch,"
yeah.
and that's the last you hear of him.
Yeah,
He's
he
just, it's like, did she shoot him out of the sky? Did he run into a tree? There is a serious problem right there to me. The movie was fine, that happened. I'm like, he should come down to save someone, not save Pooh, 2-on-2. But no, he just said, "I see you, little bitch." And then
yeah,
I get what they did with Tigger, because he was where he was, and he wasn't really in the final act.
right.
But
Yeah, he
he was
got
doing his own thing.
right. It was like the beginning started really great. Like I said, it was perfect. Like it was, these how did it actually start? I know the three hunters were out there.
Yeah, that made no sense either.
Three
No one,
chicks.
even if you're looking for someone, you're not hunting for them in the pitch black. You're not
That's
doing that. You're gonna camp.
that's right. That's right. You have the three chicks with the Ouija board, and
Hmm.
it's like you shouldn't be here. And they're like, okay. And like they're getting ready to go, but they were like, hell nah. And then freaking the you killed my girlfriend. I'm gonna
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get the one that killed my lady. Was the lady the black lady in the very first part of the movie that got killed? Is it a lady from the first movie? Because he said his girl.
right. Where
But
was Rabbit? Is Rabbit not don't public domain yet?
I think they all are. I just think that they are saving certain characters to continuation if they need to.
But I mean, I thought they climaxed on this one.
Well, they did a very good job at certain things because it's hard to be scary, murderous when you're a pig, unless you have the horns. So a tiger, an owl, a bear, Not so much a rabbit.
I mean,
Well,
the teeth, they're so pointy.
and if they're protecting the cave, scares
Run away.
you.
The first 5-star review comes from Colonius B. 3,000 times better than its predecessor. Must see. Perfect.
Well, to be fair, it wasn't hard to get better than its predecessor, but
It definitely was not worse than its first.
no, it was not. The first 1 star or less is from Blossom H. You have got to be kidding me. How can you guys like this? Did you forget that they gave Winnie the Pooh a horror movie the first time a year ago? I don't know how that's a negative. Is it because it came out too soon?
I think it came out perfectly. Though I was unaware that it was only a 5-month difference in from the first movie to the second movie, and
According to the synopsis, it might have been 7 months, but yeah, it was something. It was less than a year.
like with the whole Lexi and Friends thing, it seemed like it should have been more years apart, I think. Oxolot LM is the next 5-star. This movie is great. The animations are good. Backstory is awesome. Kind of reminds me of Five Nights at Freddy movie. This was also one of the best budget films. As y'all can see, it has got better audience score than Thor 4. Movie is 200 times more budget. Definitely watch.
He makes a good point. Once again, the animation parts of this movie were on point, just like the first one. Whoever does that part is that's worth half a stump by itself. Javier, it's horrible. It's sad that after 2 attempts, they continue to make the same mistakes. But what they did the first one is why it was a success. So you would continue on that success and add to it.
I want to know what the mistakes were from the first one and how they did them again in the second one. Loyo with the last 5-star review. Full stars out of respect. This franchise started with one of the worst movies I have ever seen, but straight up made a good movie as a follow-up. It had its janky moments, but there were way more hits than misses.
Yeah, Loyo, that's pretty good. There's more hits than misses for sure. Okay, Jay says this last 1-star review. Cancerous boil that transforms an innocent childhood fantasy into a twisted nightmare. New depths are being reached in Hollywood's sewer called a film industry. I don't think Hollywood did this.
You know, this was a positive review until that second sentence.
Yes, it was.
It absolutely was. And I am appreciative of how this movie came out in 2024 because what the first was review came from Fleegan B on the 26th of March of this year. Says, I love the first movie, so I'm gonna love this one. 5 stars. Didn't even watch it.
I'm about to say it's like I said in the beginning of this review. I understand my dad's point of view watching a horror movie that I loved, and he's like, "That's a pretty good movie." And then watching the sequel to it, and me thinking, "Oh, it's so good," and my dad's like, "That's so bad." I have to put myself in that mindset of, it's those type of movies.
Yeah, it for a slasher film. It is exactly what it was. It had a very Michael Myers-y vibe.
Mm-hmm. And they even have Freddy in there. The kid's name was Freddy. He had a claw. He wore Jason's mask.
Yeah. Now let's get into the critics versus audience reviews. Rotten Tomatoes gave this movie surprisingly a 47%. I mean, come on. While the audience, that's you all at home, and while you're about ready to find out what the audience said, please give us a like, a comment, a smile, or whatever. Share it. Let everybody know that we are here in your hemisphere. But the audience gave this a 76%, which I am on board with.
I'm wondering if because Rotten Tomatoes has been around for 20 years, that the people who were there when they started 20 years ago or 40, they've retired. Now all the 22-year-olds are running Rotten Tomatoes. So
All us millennials there. Actually, yeah, not even the millennials. Millennials are the audience. I don't know. All right. Now let's get into what we think. Here is our ratings. Jason, I will definitely say that I would recommend this movie to my surgeon, especially if he just likes good old slasher films. I thought this movie was better than the first. I really enjoyed this movie, and I did go back and I did check the tape, and I gave the last one 3 trees, but just because I felt this one was better than the first doesn't mean it's still not a 3-tree movie. So to me, this movie is a 3-tree movie. Don't let the equal score fool you. This one is better than the first. And no, you don't have to really watch the first one to watch this one, because it kind of just stands alone.
you know that's a very fair statement. You don't have to watch the first one because this one kind of gives you a backstory to that one. I think it's better than the first one in aspects of filmmaking, cinematography, and makeup, as far as the like Pooh looks and the great art mask of Tigger and Owl. Wonderful. Even Piglet. I love what happens with Piglet in both the movies. I think this is a worse movie compared to the actual writing and the storyline and execution. So, but it's a slasher sequel. It's what you're going to get. I mean, as far as slasher sequels go, there's been terrible ones. There's really not been good ones. This one is equal level. Because it was easier to watch, I am going to give this 2 trees straight up. Just have a stump bigger than the one before. Because, yes, I'd watch this one again before I'd watch the first
one. It is absolutely remarkable that a second film is better than the first. It's not like Smokey and the Bandit, where first one is far superior than the second, and he's so much more superior than the third. But thank you everyone out there for watching this episode of Treason Space. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so, and please tell your friends, your family, whoever. I've been Nate. That's been Jason. Till next time, we'll see you all Friday. What?